All right, well, we're back with another one. This is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. So we're about a month away from season starting, and I have been dying for about the last 2 years to try the Ranch Fairy test kit. I don't know whether you guys have ever heard of it or not, but let me show you exactly what all it comes with and what we're going to do. So I think this is going to be really interesting to figure out not only kinetic energy, but the weights of our arrows, what's going to fly the best, what's going to make me personally the most accurate with my setup. So let me show you guys exactly what we've got, and we'll get to shooting some arrows. All right, guys, so here's the Ranch Fairy test kit. In this bag, you can see they send you 2 shafts of each weight that you select. So we've got 2 300s and 2 250 spine shafts. Then over here, we've got an assortment of field points, field points ranging from 100 grains, 125, 150, 175, up to 200. Here are all the measurements on the points, as well as you can see here the rings. Those rings are right here. I wanted to keep them in the bag so I didn't lose them in the grass, but those are 15 grain rings. And then we are going to go all the way up to this monster. That is a 300 grain field point. These are my control arrows. So here I've got the arrows that I shot last year. They're gold tips. I've got that just to kind of see what kind of penetration we get with a 100 grain field point. And then these are the arrows that I bought for this year. They're a 350 spine, so they're a little bit lighter than what we have here. Obviously got the Hoyt out. There's our target, only 10 feet away. With the amount of kinetic energy that we're going to be producing, I thought it'd be a good idea to ratchet strap it to this spindle. We actually had this as a table, so hopefully my wife's not too pissed that I stole it. But took some hooks and put some hooks in the bottom of it and attached the ratchet strap to it, hopefully hold it in place. So let's shoot some arrows, see what this thing looks like. So here's our 2 control arrows. So as you can see, come out of the bow pretty straight. Obviously I'm a little bit taller than the target is, so they are at a downward angle, but that's nothing the bow's doing. That's just the way that I'm standing. Obviously you can see it's very consistent. We are getting a little bit better penetration with the arrows for this year over the gold tips. So let's keep testing. We'll see what it looks like as we continue to go along. All right, so we've got a 250 and a 300, one of each spine loaded up. These are 100 grain and those are 125 grain. So let's shoot them, see what they look like. Okay, so there's the first round. So on the left side is the 100 grain field point. On the right side is the 125 grain field point. 300 spines are on the bottom and your 250s are on top. So everything looks pretty good until you get into the top right. This is, like I say, the 250 with the 125 grain field point. I keep saying broadhead. You guys are gonna have to bear with me on that. But it got a little crazy. If you look at it compared to the others, it definitely stepped out a little bit on the rear kick high right. So that's interesting. We'll have to keep that in mind. Let's shoot some more. Okay guys, there's the next round. So we got 150s and 175. So the 175s are on the right, the 150s are on the left. The 300 spine shafts are on the bottom, the 250s are on the top. So as you can see from here, the 175s it did not like. It seems like the top left, which would be the 250 spine with the 150 grain broadhead, it seemed to shoot field point. It seemed to shoot pretty well. So other than that, I'm not real crazy about any of that. So let's keep stepping it up. We'll see what it looks like. All right, here you go guys. So this is 200 and 225 grain field points. So we've got the 300 spines on the bottom, the 250s on top. So it looks like everything at that weight is kicking rear to the right. And so I thought, well, you know, just to make sure I'm standing appropriately or whatever, I shot one of my control arrows, and that thing is dead nuts money. So you can see the difference, I'm sure, in how straight they are. Again, you know, I'm taller than the target, so take that for what it's worth, but everything at that weight is definitely kicking right. So let's keep moving up, see what happens. All right, 250 grain and 275 grain, and it's pretty much the same result. So let's bump up to the last ones. These are the 300s. I'm gonna shoot 2 at 300 and two at 315. So let's step it up. Well, there's 300, so let's try 315. All right, so there's our 315s, and you can see walking up here, they are almost identical to our control. But here's the big thing that I'm noticing. When it comes to kinetic energy, which is the big thing that I wanted to test with this, if you look at the difference in these arrows, we're getting just as much, if not more, it actually is slightly more, out of the 350 spine control arrow and 100 grain field point as we are 315 grains on a field point with a 250 spine arrow or 300 spine arrow. The 250 is the only one that's close. You can see up here, there's the 250, and then obviously the green control arrow is the 350 spine, and I mean, it's definitely more impact. I'm gonna play around with this control arrow, throw a 150 grain or, you know, something like that on it, but I don't think the crazy weights really make much of a difference. So let's shoot a few more, see what happens. If you look at what I got written down here, these are all the field point weights, and I've got 2 X's next to the ones that didn't shoot well. So nothing really shot well other than the 150s. So I'm gonna put a one, and we had one 125. So I'm actually gonna put my standard, what I normally practice with, 100 grain field point on this one, and then a 125 on this one, and a 150 on this one. And we'll compare, being that they're all the control arrows, and see what that looks like. All right, so the 100 grain point is top left, the 125 is top right, and the 150 is bottom right. And this has actually become quite interesting all of a sudden. So looking at these arrows, the 100 tracked right, they all tracked pretty well, but the 150 looks like a dart. I mean, it is straight as an arrow. So I'd be curious to paper tune it. I don't have the stuff to be able to paper tune. The other thing is, look at the difference in kinetic energy. The 125 and the 150 are very, very similar, but they left the 100 grain in the dust. So, I mean, you're talking a good couple inches more penetration. And actually it looks like the 125 is the best, substantially. So I'm actually going to scoot back, since I only shot these at 10 feet, I'm going to scoot back to 20 yards and we're going to see what it does there. So I definitely think we're onto something, and I feel like it looks good, but the 125 seems to be winning out, because even the trajectory of the arrow looks right. It's not as steep of an angle. So we'll see what they look like. I'm going to shoot them individually at 20 yards. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, don't judge me on my accuracy here. I've shot a lot of arrows today, and I have a torn rotator cuff, so bear with me a little bit. I'm a little bit all over the place, but looking at these arrows, so from left to right, we've got 100 grain, 125 grain in the middle, and then the 150 to the right. All pretty comparable. Like I say, this 125, it was me, I pulled it. So, but all pretty comparable at 20 yards. When you look at the amount of kinetic energy, it is certainly different with the 125 and the 150. I will say the 150 definitely sounds sturdier coming out of the bow. It's much quieter coming out of the bow. It doesn't have quite a twang to it like the 100 does. The 100 is by far the loudest. So this 150 thing has me really intrigued. I'm actually kind of curious to play around with it. Let me grab a tape measure and we'll see exactly what the differences are. So 100 grain falls right at about 19 1/4. The 125 is right at 18 to the end of the nock. And the 150 is also right at 18. So it looks like the 125 and the 150 are almost exactly the same. So there may not be much of a difference there, but I'm telling you, that 150 felt great coming out of the bow. So, so I went to 10 yards rather than 20, and I shot the 100, the 125, and the 150, and I made sure I shot them all into fresh spots on the target so that they weren't hitting any existing holes or anything, just to have the most accurate look that we could have. So looking at that, you would guess that the 150 would probably be on top because that is the most penetration, I believe. So that is at 18 1/4, 18 3/4, almost 19. So this top one is definitely our deepest. Let's see what head it is. There it is. There's the 100. It's the 125. This was our good one. That's 125 grain field point. Well guys, there you have it, the Ranch Fairy test kit. I'm going to continue to play around with it and I'll give you an update, but let me know what you think. Play around with some different field points and stuff. Leave it some comments on this video and let me know what you do different, or if you see something that I did that you think I should do different, put that in there and let me know what you think. So I just thought this was kind of a cool experiment to play around with. There's a little piece of me that was hoping that the 300 would be just the you know, the holy grail of everything, and that I was going to be shooting a telephone pole through my bow this year. But I think that's kind of unrealistic. So I know guys do it, doesn't seem to be the setup for mine. So leave everything in the comments. Let me know what you think, and make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.